Hey there, and welcome to episode number 1 of my Outward Let's Play series. I've been recently playing Outward for, I think it's been about a week. I've put in about 100 hours or so. At least that's what Steam says. I've been enjoying it, and I just figured I would do another playthrough, because I think my first character I made some mistakes. And just share my experience with some people. So I'm going to go through creating a character and just go play the game a little bit and, talk while we play the game. So, not an expert on the game by any means, but I figure, maybe able to learn from my experience, and maybe get a little bit of fun out of it while we're at it. That's the hairstyle I did on my other character. I want to do something different. Maybe it was... Oh, okay. Maybe I'll do that one. Change the face, though. I don't think that hair fits. Second guessing the hairstyle. I mean, character creation really isn't super important. Most of the time you're gonna have armor on and whatnot, but I don't want him to look too awful. It looks like he has a toupee on. I don't like it. Maybe I just do bald and not an old man. I think that's the way. Alright, so now that we got the character customized, we're going to go ahead and jump right in. The game will spawn us in the starting zone. Not necessarily a tutorial, because it doesn't really give you too much assistance and guidance on where to go, but it is definitely not the normal areas by any means. So first thing, we're shipwrecked. No armor, no nothing. So we're gonna go ahead and start looking for some things. We're a little bit cold. Torch warms us up. We have some health and stamina. Both of those resources, as they are depleted, they can be regenerated, but as they do so, the maximum amount that is available will be burned over time. So you want to avoid using those resources unless you absolutely have to. There is survival mechanics in the game. You need to gather food and have clean water and other things. There's a lot of, cooking and alchemy for different buffs and things. At the start of the game, you definitely want to try to scavenge every little bit you can. Like I said, I'm trying to reserve my stamina, go a little bit slower through the playthrough. As you can see, I can try to gather water, but I don't have a water skin yet. Get a fishing harpoon and hold to drink clean water, and it gives you a buff which recovers your stamina and some hot water defense, or hot weather defense. So that's good. These berries, as you'll find later on, are used for some pretty useful recipes for cooking. Got us bandages in case we need to heal ourselves. We have a friend here that we talked to. We're alive and we must be freezing. Warm up by the fire, freeze to death. Where are we? Last thing I remember is hitting the rocks.
We're not far from home. You can see the lighthouse from here, can't you? He's a Kazite. He was born on a ship.
Going through the dialogue.
Go ahead and sleep.
He wants me to sleep on the bedroll. That will progress us to the next area. We are not going to do that just yet. There are a couple of things we can gather throughout the area and get us a little bit of a head start. Wood you can gather as you need it from any tree, so it's just weighs our inventory down for the time being. Can't sell it. Not much use as of right now. Seaweed is useful for some alchemy recipes, so you can gather that. That way you have some stored up. Food and whatnot, such as the berries, do have a expiration time, so you do want to be mindful of that. You want to try to convert them into food and use them fairly regularly. While we're doing the playthrough, I am going to try to get a little bit of interaction on the videos and try to get some input on some decisions throughout the playthrough, so we can, you know, have a little bit more interaction. So we get our first weapon, per se. I mean, you can use the fishing harpoon as a weapon, but probably not the best option. So there's some hyenas over here that we want to avoid for the time being. So now we're overweight, which brings a problem, because being overweight, as you'll see here, slows our movement speed, which in combat we're going to want to avoid. So temporarily, we can come over here and drop the pick. Yeah, in reality, I guess we could probably just drop some of the extra. Guess that's not good enough. We'll drop that. So, hyenas, you could try to avoid them or just completely avoid them and, you know, altogether. But that stump is lootable. You can try to use your light to bait out one of them, and you can press tab to target it. Hyenas, along with many other melee enemies, can easily be baited out to attacking by circling around them. And then your kick ability can be used to knock down their stamina bar, and then you will stagger them, allowing you to attack more easily. That's always nice. There is the other hyena. We can engage him in combat. And again, wait for an opportunity. He wants to stop running around in circles. And then kick him. Cut him a couple times. And then, you know, go back to circling around him. And there we go. We have dispatched of them. That's weird. I actually never noticed that was there the first time. Interesting. So you can loot the tree stump. Hope you get some decent stuff. These don't have as good hot weather, but generically they are better. So we are very overweight. Like I said earlier, being overweight or over encumbered slows us down. We want to try to avoid that as much as possible, but for the time being, we want to try to make it out of here with as much loot as possible to get our start as smooth as possible. So we're going to loot these berries, go pick our pickaxe up so we can gather different resources as needed. So we will accept the slower walking speed for the time being. Depending on how slow you are, sometimes rolling might be a faster method of travel. Keep that in mind. It is very stamina intensive, and as you can see at the bottom left, there is a darker yellow part of my stamina bar, which is the burnt stamina. Now our stamina will only regenerate up to that point until we sleep or revitalize ourselves using some other methods, maybe a potion or a drink of some kind, or sleeping. So we can now use the bedroll. For this instance, it doesn't matter how much you sleep because it will just progress us to the next part of the game. There will be a trend of pretty much everywhere we go, at least towards the beginning, until we get established with decent gear and some skills and abilities, that we are going to scavenge basically every little thing that we possibly can. So once this loads, we can we'll spawn in the house. For the time being, I'm not going to pick that up just for the sake of being slow. The first thing I am going to go loot is the satchel down here, so I can move some stuff into it and increase my carry weight. And stuff in your pocket is generally bad. You only want the things that you need immediately. Generally, your bandages and things to heal yourself or remove ailments or things like that that you may need in combat. Not so much your, mining pick and extra armor and whatnot. Now, extra weapons, maybe. That is the route you would like to take. Obviously, you can put other things in your pouch if your satchel becomes too full. For the time being, we will be keeping some basic gear around. I will leave those arrows. Well, no, I'll equip them because you can equip arrows and use it to store extra stuff a little bit. I have boots. I have tattered boots. Worker boots are a little bit better, not by much. 3, 2, 6. That's what I have on now. Just a color. Got some more berries. Berries. Some bread. Recipe. Jam. Got a bedroll, which we will take for now. Flint steel, iron scraps. So, recipes are interesting. As you can see, you can find them out in the world. Learn them. You learn them, you will have the recipe ready to go. You can also use a manual recipe and hope that you get it correct. Let's see if I can show you what happens if you get it wrong. Yeah, I can afford to do that. So if you get it wrong, it will give you food waste, which, as you can read here, is diseased mush, which we don't want. Okay, let's move that away from the kitchen so it's not in our way. So, if you get the recipe correct, it will unlock it. From there, you can use, whatever you have available to cook. So for now, some items, if it's a single item recipe, it will not save the recipe over here. So, cooking meat until I get extra vegetables and whatnot, I think the cooked meat is probably my best option for meat right now. The jerky lasts longer, but it does not heal as much hunger and whatnot. So, got an old lantern. for the time being, we can drop our torch and equip our lantern. You can press V by default to disable your lantern and save on the fuel. I think that's pretty much the house looted. Now, as a heads up, I would highly recommend playing this game in an explorative manner, just because the game does allow for a lot of exploration and, you know, playing as you wish, and obviously it allows you to make mistakes, and there is some potential punishment for making those mistakes, which is part of the replayability of the game. As you can see, we have been greeted with a not so warm welcome.
Rise and shine, Trog spawn. You think you can nip off for 4 months and not pay what you owe the tribe?
Evidently, we owe somebody something.
A blood price is sacred.
There's a blood
You
price.
can't just shrug off that responsibility.
And evidently, they think we shrugged off our responsibility.
If I don't see the money from you by the time I count to 10, you'll regret you ever came home.
Oh, well, she's upset. So, we can try to reason with them and ask them if they have a heart. And basically, no matter what,
Yeah, you were on that ship too, weren't you?
now they're mad at us
Why
because,
must your family be responsible for
you know,
destroying
evidently it's our
everyone?
fault the
Enough
ship
is
crashed.
If you can't make the payments you missed, we will seize your home.
So if I can't pay, they're gonna take my home.
Enough of this! 12 people are dead. Stop this shameful behavior at once.
Okay, so they say they want to mourn their loved ones, not demand payments for a
Threaten
survivor.
someone like this while the lost lives are still fresh
Somebody's standing up
is
for
an
us a little bit.
insult to their memory.
Nice to see. The Blue Chamber Collective. There's a period of mourning. Means that they can't bug me, basically.
But Chamber Lady Aberdeen.
Basically,
I said that is enough! If you want to resume discussions after the mourning period, feel free.
basically, she's gonna give me some time to get my stuff together.
Oliel, see these people off, would you?
You heard, Mother. Away with you, or I will personally see to it that you get double shifts of guard duty.
All right, now that everybody else is
I'm
gone,
sorry that was the
she's
first
gonna
thing
talk
you woke up
one-on-one
to.
on me, with me.
Please forgive them. Many of them have lost family and are not thinking straight. If I could do more, I would.
Try to
The
reason with
most I
her.
can do for you is declare a mourning period and buy you a little time.
So she's buying us a little time, basically giving us 5 days to try to gather what we owe.
That gives you a few days to pay back
150
the money.
coins, or getting
Either
a
gather
tribal
the money
favor.
Or earn a tribal favor, and they won't be able to touch you. Once you can make the payment, come see me. Please find a way to make it work.
So
That does seem like your most effective option.
best option
dangerous as it
is to go outside of town.
Never forget, no one is an orphan in Ciezo. Do not hesitate to ask the rest of the tribe for survival advice. If you can do a great deed for someone in Ciezo, we will owe you a tribal favor.
Alright, so if I can help
Once you're
somebody,
ready to leave Ciezo,
they will
speak with Burak, the gate warden.
give me a tribal favor and excuse my debt. As she references here, there's a guard that before you leave town, if you talk to him, he will give you some stuff to help you.
Remember, you only have a few days. May your
5
ancestors
days.
watch over you.
So first thing, as we've just realized, quests are time gated, time limits. You can fail them, and there is consequences for doing so. You can click M to see your map, but also the day, so you can keep track of, you know, how long you have. So similar to the beach, as of right now, we still have 5 days. Not gonna rush too much. Don't want to use all my stamina running around town. Do want to go sell a couple of things, and the first thing I'm gonna do is upgrade my backpack. And get a couple of things wandering around town. And then, actually, that's what we're gonna go do first, is see if we can sell some stuff and gather up enough money to buy the slightly improved backpack and compared to what we have. So there's a couple of weapons you can find laying around. They're not similar to the machete. They're more so tools that can be used as weapons. But the weapon that you leave town with, when you talk to the guard, he will give you a weapon ability for free. I would highly recommend just testing out the weapons and figuring out which one you like best. Here, I'm going to sell the extra gear that I have to make some money. I won't need that right now. I don't think I need metal for anything immediately. Seaweed is useful, but I don't need it right now. I can always gather more later. Flint and steel, I only need one of. The food I'll keep. Beetles are super useful. That puts us up to 54 money. And we want to buy a nomad backpack for 25. Later on, you can buy my personal recommendation is the tent here, but for now, we're not going to focus on that. So buy the backpack. It's going to help us out a little bit. Equip the other backpack. Loot that backpack. I personally am going to keep this backpack for the one weight. I think it's worth keeping for now. So you can also talk to this guy. I almost forgot. You can talk to him.
Is there something
and can give you a quest.
you help with this? Excellent.
To go to one of the other towns and deliver something for him. His ledger to the other shopkeeper. I think there was something I forgot. Or is it right? So yeah, so for now, like I said, get the bigger backpack. We can hold more weight without having to be slowed down. Now that we have that, we can... Did I ever gather? No. Okay, so there's a quarterstaff here. The one thing I always miss because it's kind of hidden. And again, I'd recommend messing around with the different weapons. So each weapon has essentially like 3 combos. You have your regular flashes, which can be done in like a repeating thing. You can do a special attack, which in this case for the sword is a lunge, or you can do a normal attack into a special attack, which will in this case do a left movement slash. And then if you do 2 regular attacks, it'll do a right slash. And if you do 1, 2, 3, it repeats to the left. Personally, you can do some pretty quick, combos once you get each weapon down, figuring out what works and whatnot. The staff, which is considered I believe, yeah, it's considered a halberd. So you have the pokey attack, which is pretty cool. Got this into the spin. Got this and this into a spin. And that's pretty much quarterstaff or halberds. My personal favorite combo is to do an auto attack into a spin into a poke attack. It's 3 pretty quick hits. The double basic attack is pretty slow, but the first attack is pretty quick, followed by I'm out of stamina. So if you stand still, you regenerate stamina a little bit quicker. But the basic attack is pretty quick, followed by the special attack is a little bit quicker, and then you can quickly follow up with a poke. So it's 3 pretty quick hits for the 2-handed weapon. The Great Axe is another weapon I really like. Obviously, this is not the best great axe in the world. We'll let her stamina regen in a little bit, and I'll show y'all some more of those abilities. So I've got an area down here that we can't access. We need a town key, but we do have a couple things we can loot if we go on upstairs. A dark rich hat, which I got equipped, gives me negative 5% stamina cost, which is pretty nice as an early game find. Don't think there's anything else. Yeah. All right. So axe attacks. You have your basic attack, and forward sweeping attacks. You have this special attack, which is 2 quick swings. You can do a basic swing into 2 quick swings, or 2 basic attacks into 2 basic swings. Personally, when I use Great Axe, I just special attack, because you can do it twice back to back and do 4 really, really quick swings. The Great Axe weapon ability is also really strong, in my opinion. When they get knocked down, when you break their stamina bar, or their stability bar, rather. It does extra damage, so that's usually what I use, or at least what I had been, or halberds. I've been really enjoying the halberds of late. Alright, got another headpiece, which I probably won't be using. Got another NPC here.
Greetings, friend.
That
Lend me your ear. As a matter of fact, is what I need. You'll know
Give you
it
a quest.
if you find it. Perfect. Lend me
basically
your
she
ear.
wants us to go to the troglodyte cave and gather something for her, bring it back, and she will reward us. So we will oblige later, because we aren't in a we're not in a super urgent rush, but we are on a time constraint. So we are going to take a bit of time to gather a couple things and be on our way to... We're going to go for the tribal favor route, so we can hoard our money for ourselves and use them for our own personal gain. Just gathering all the bushes so I can make more food later, whatnot. We are going to go over here and talk to the alchemy lady. She has a quest for us
Hey
as
there.
well.
Is the plan. Hey,
She wants crystal
listen.
powder, and
To unlock the
she also
Holy
gives you the
Mission and
quest
the Kingdom
to
of Levant
get
have
mana.
their own paths into the Conflux Mountain as
There's
well.
a blacksmith here. Talk to him.
What could I do
Has
for
some
you?
stuff for
All
sale.
right.
We will sell him. You can keep whichever weapon you prefer after you test them out. I guess I can show you all the pitchfork, which is considered a spear, I believe. Personally not a fan of spears. They do the pokey things. So you can auto attack for some pokes. Their special attack is a longer range poke. A special attack, or basic into a special, is a sweep. Double basic into is another sweep. You can't really do a double special attack on this one. Not a huge fan of it. I will probably be doing the quarterstaff, just because I do
What
like halberds.
Can I do for you? All right.
So I'm gonna sell everything else, except for I'm gonna keep 1 harpoon for fishing. I will sell that for the time being. Sell the antidotes and that. I don't really need them. You can use these for poisons. I don't plan on making poisons right now, so I'm just gonna take advantage of the money for now. And yeah, so there's a couple of things you can do. For the time being, I'm not going to do them, just to show you a little bit more of a natural progression. There is a hatchet over here, so we can look at that attack set here in a second, real quick. So you have your basic attack, which is just a swing. the special attack is 3 fast attacks. You can do 1 into 2, or 2 into 2 more, so you can get 4 attacks. Don't know. So you can do a total of 5 attacks with the axe if you do double special attack, which is pretty good. It is a one-handed axe, so it does do a little bit less damage per hit, but it is a little bit faster. So, depends on your personal preference on playstyle and what you feel comfortable with. I feel like they've done a really good job of balancing the weapons. The slower weapons generally have higher impact or higher damage. Slower weapons, or faster weapons generally, well, are faster, do a little bit less damage, but you're a little more agile. Very important. You got your water skin here. Drink some water for stamina regen. Always make sure you have a full water skin or 2 on you. I'd recommend 2 at least. 3 if you can afford the weight, or if you're going on particularly long journeys. You can come around here and look for, you know, some fishing spots, usually like right here. Oh, if you don't fall off the dock, that is. Gather you some raw salmon. One of the things I didn't mention with the blacksmith, he does sell stuff, but he also offers to basically commission you some armor for some special materials that you can get, and basically the crafting cost. So that is nice. Salt water is super useful for cooking. Super easy to get salt from salt water. Just fill your water skin, boil out the salt. Well, let me rephrase that. You separate the salt and the water. So you have the clean water and you gain salt out of it. Another machete we can sell for later. Full of other things from a junk pile. These boots are the same, they're just black. So for aesthetic purposes, they match my chest piece a little bit better. Another fish spot. There's a couple of other things we can gather before we are going to make our way to complete the tribal favor. Keep in mind, we still have 5 days. We're making good progress. Obviously, if you're just naturally exploring this, it might take you a little bit more time, but I've done this a couple times and I'm pretty sure I haven't missed anything. Trying to go a little bit slower just in case there's newer people watching. So this is one of the guys involved that he was supposed to light the lighthouse. He failed to do so. Basically, end all be all, he's the reason we crashed.
Not a clue. It wasn't me, though, that's for sure. I don't think he wants my help. Oh, what? Yeah, shame about the shipwreck. Exactly. I don't think.
Okay, so I guess that dialogue option doesn't open up until later.
This is the worst day I've had in forever.
So you can get a shield. Again, if you're using a one-handed weapon, you can use your lantern in the offhand, or you can use the good old shield, which shields are pretty good in this game. Don't think there's anything else that way or that way. We're gonna go upstairs now. There's a couple of things we can get from upstairs that are pretty useful. First thing is you can buy skills from these guys here.
Amber, my friend.
This ability system we'll get into a little bit later, but you can buy some abilities. They cost money right now. Don't want to spend a ton of money right now, so we're gonna hold on to our cash for the time being. Alright, so I remember my first playthrough, I was just so stressed about gaining the money and ended up losing the lighthouse. You live and you learn, I suppose. So you can learn the recipes here. And you can go here, and we have makeshift attire, makeshift boots, and I thought there was, yeah, makeshift hat. So you can upgrade basically basic gear into slightly better gear. So right now I only have 2 hide. So let's see, I can either do the makeshift leather, which is 7 resistance, 8, 10, and 5 pouch bonus, which compared to what I have now. Okay, so it's like 4 resistance more. Or I can get boots, which are 4 compared to the current 1, so that's 3 alone. And then the hat, I think the boots require 1, right? And the hat requires... Actually, I think I'm going to go with the chest piece because I don't think I'm going to replace this hat right now. Because it has a negative stamina cost and only 2 more resistance. I know it's a negative 5% stamina cost is not that great. But I'm going to upgrade that and equip this. So now I got a leather coat. A little bit better.
What can I do? All right.
So the sword, the axe, the extra harpoon, the extra gear, keep the food stuff, gain a little bit more money. And I think we can be on our way for the time being. There is a couple of other little Easter egg items, I guess you could call them, that you can get, but they don't have any real use, so we won't look at those right now. The Soroborian Caravaner sells some useful stuff. Nothing we need right now. Master Trader Gear's where it's at. But yeah, so gonna go ahead and gather our berries. And then I think I've already gathered here. Junk pile, yeah. Okay, so there is an inn here. Later on you can sleep there. As of right now, if you talk to the lady...
The customers have been talking.
So this gives you a hint. So right, you talk to the innkeeper. Usually innkeepers are really good about giving you information. Like Helen, the lady that wants us to go to the Trog Cave, needed help. We've already picked up that quest. And then she says, it's also possible that survivors washed up on the beach further out of, into Chersonese. I always call it Chernobyl just because. If you could save one of them, I'm sure they'd return the favor. Huh, that sounds interesting. As far as I know, there's nothing else interesting to loot inside the inn. Maybe a junk pile down there. I don't think so, though. Yeah, no. So, yes. Oh, one of the other things I forgot to mention. The Nomad Backpack. One of the reasons, aside from it having increased weight compared to the 25 capacity, so basically double the capacity, is it allows you to attach your lantern to the back, and you can light it without having to unequip your shield or two-handed weapon. Super nice, super convenient. Would definitely recommend. And I'm gonna drop the shield just for the weight. You can't sell it, so if you do 100%, if you are using a one-handed, I would recommend using it. Otherwise, you can just drop it. Okay, so we've pretty much explored town, got everything we need. I believe you need a weapon, a torch or a lantern, and a water skin. There might be something else you also need. I'm gonna drop these. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he will talk to you once you have those things. You tell him that you're going outside.
Well, you got the essentials at least.
And then he says,
Here,
I'll teach you a
I'll
skill.
teach you a skill.
Mastering these is the key to survival out in the wild. Want me to teach you a weapon that you're currently holding? And then you have the option to tell him, hey, let me change weapons real quick. But otherwise you can tell him yes.
There you go.
He gives you another flint and steel.
I feel
He also can train you in the two-handed sword skill, if you want. I'm not gonna do that right now. Again, gonna save my money. All right, so now we are. You can talk to him again, double check, make sure there's no other dialogue. I
Need
would
something?
recommend.
Waiting on some. My warriors and I are the last. Need something? Well, here's what I know. I wonder if this worries me.
Yeah, so basically, I would recommend talking to pretty much anybody that'll talk to you about anything, see if they have any quests for you or anything like that. Because this game, as you progress the main story, different quests unlock, and some of them are time gated.
I could greet you with a smile.
Some of them.
Yesterday, I was leading our most ambitious expedition.
How did our ship sink? The lighthouse wasn't lit. I'm certain I remember thinking we should have seen him by now, right before they hit the rock.
Lost everyone who was below the depth. Unfortunately, yes. What
We lost everything. Finances are reeling from the losses, barely enough to let's start over.
How much? That's right. You haven't been able to make payments on your blood price while the blood price on your head is disgusting. You weren't even born when that tragedy happened. More like find an early grave. Suffering doesn't help it. I'm sorry I don't have better news. Best of luck with squaring things with Risa in the short term. Actually, I do have a small stash of goods I hid in case of disaster.
So this is important to note later. He has a small stash of goods hidden near an old shipwreck. Evidently, this guy just has a tendency to wreck ships. When you open it, remember that the moon commands the stars.
Remember, you're not just a link in a chain.
Anyway, so quests, they pop up depending on your main story quest, and some of them are limited time, where if you progress your main story too quickly, you might miss out on some quests. Once you pick up the quest, some of them are time gated, where you have to complete the quest in a certain amount of time, similar to the one we're currently working on. I'm going to see if this guy's quest dialogue unlocks or if it's later. Because if it's now, it's going to help me out a little bit.
Oh, what brings you? Yeah, shame about the shipwreck. Accidents like this. Exactly. I don't
So I guess
think
it's
he
not until
wants
later.
my help.
Okay.
Ugh,
So
this is the worst day
we
I've
are
had in
going to
forever.
go into the last area over here that we haven't explored. Also, as a tip, you can, when you have your backpack equipped, you dodge roll slowly. And as the game is telling me now, you can press B to drop your backpack. Makes you more agile. So that is something we will be doing regularly, taking advantage of heavier carry weight backpacks and having to drop them rather than some of the backpacks that allow us to dodge roll without having to set the backpack down. So yeah, we're going in here. It's pretty well lit. We can turn our lantern off. There's another lantern here we can sell later. Flint and steel we can sell later. Another bedroll. We can't sell those, so they're basically useless. Don't plan on needing that right now. There's a pile of junk. Gives us a hatchet and some padded armor. Padded armor is pretty good early game. Doesn't have any stamina downsides. Has really good protection and cold damage protection, and cold weather defense and impact resistance. So it's a pretty good find. It's kind of sad I didn't make the boots now instead of. So now we already have the recipe for the jam. So at this point, we can just sell the recipe, which is nice. An extra mining pick. We can sell. Keep in mind that enemies, if they see you, especially if you have light or you're sprinting, they will attack you. Personally like to come down this cave down here. Gather this iron vein. Got a thick oil, that's pretty nice. So, see, this guy saw me and he is coming to, I think he's gonna come attack me by the looks of it. Yeah. So we kind of do a little dance with him. Oh, I forgot to attach my other ability, so we can block him. Do our kick. And you miss your attacks, and then you're sad. Give him a good old pokey poke. I think the tridents are spears. Again, not a huge fan of them. This guy is slowly coming in. Block his attack. Give him a good old kick. And dispatch of them fairly easily. Since we have the 50-pound backpack, actually they're 6 pounds each, so we might be able to pick up one of them to sell. They're really not worth too much, so if you don't have the space, I would personally drop them. But if you have the space, go ahead and pick them up. Might as well sell them, get what you can out of them. Explore the cave a little bit more. Get these green mushrooms. I know there's a lot of recipes that can use the mushrooms. I personally don't know any of them off the top of my head. My last character had little to no mana usage, maybe a couple to use some of the boons and whatnot. I think, unless I missed like a little gathering thing here or there and around one of the corners, yeah, I think that's everything for here, so we can proceed into this ominously dark, foggy cave that has blood or some kind of, I'm assuming that's blood, maybe some red fungus or something, I don't know. And then we can get here, read the warning, you go forward, you won't be able to make your way back this way. Basically, once you drop off this ledge, you can't come back here, so remember that later. And go outside. And everybody has been saying it's super dangerous outside, so gotta keep that in mind. As you can see, we didn't even technically leave town. We went into the storage area, and we've already ran into a bunch of what they call troglodytes. Which, again, you're patient with the combat, anticipate the enemy's attack, and wait for an opportunity. You can make pretty easy work of them. Later in the game, it gets a little bit harder. They're not as prone to attacking you one at a time. Okay. So the problem we now have is we need to walk down the beach. But there is a lightning mantis, I believe is what it's called. They are not the easiest. They're not super difficult, but with our basic weaponry we have right now, it might be a little bit of a task. I can equip my ability here and this ability here, and maybe give it a try. So these guys have 2 main attacks. This thing you can easily dodge, and then they have a close range, like explosion one, and then long range one. So you can go in for the kick. He's gonna attack. Do your, oh man, yeah, these guys are tougher. We're gonna go ahead and just nope out of here, because my weapon is not doing the amount of damage that I want it to that guy. So we're gonna go ahead and run, because oh geez, I might die here, which is bad. Dying is bad. It is a learning experience that we can have. So we're gonna talk to this guy and hopefully give him his bandage.
I feel it working.
Got rid of the tribal flavor. Nighttime makes it easy to see blue sand. Gather that. It's worth a little bit. It also has other uses. We successfully evaded that shrimp. So now we're going to go back to town. See if we can't make it there unharmed. see, what do we got? We got some food. We'll eat some food. Different foods give you different buffs. For example, this one gives you some health regen. This one will give you some stamina regen, I believe, and some cold weather defense. Not that we really care about that, but the stamina we do care about. Drinking water, as we mentioned earlier, recovers stamina, so that's nice. Outside of that, I don't think we really have much. Make some bandages, which I usually keep in my pocket. Use one of them, gives us another health recovery, and we should be all right. Now that I done that, I'm gonna make my way back to town and turn on the tribal favor, so that we are no longer limited by time. We can take our time to progress things in a more reasonable pace, or at least where I'll feel less rushed. Got a Fang Axe recipe, so that's nice. See if we can't clear out our inventory maybe a little bit. How much over are we? 3 pounds? So one of the things you can do is you can salvage certain things. So salvage these sandals are probably not worth much in this axe, and that should free up some weight. You can also, which I guess I should have done that instead, move stuff into your pocket, reallocate some weight into your pocket. So my recommendation, at least if you're newer, avoid the mantis shrimps. If you are feeling comfortable, you can fight them. Until you get a weapon with a little more impact, they are a little bit more difficult. Once you get them to where they can stagger, or where you can stagger them, they're not that bad. But this weapon was really struggling to get that stagger going. Alright, and I know I saw some hyenas up here while I was organizing my inventory. Somewhere around here. Maybe? I just... Oh, I walked past it? Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, fighting one at a time is a luxury that you will not always be afforded. So if you can't avoid it, make the best of it. Swapping targets is kind of a pain in my opinion. Not a huge fan of it. Alright, now we're down to 1. Give him a good old kick. Swipe into a swipe, and he's down. Yeah, so fighting 2 at a time can be a little tricky. Same concept though. Be patient and look for an opportunity to attack. You should be alright. So we can unequip our boots. We can upgrade them with this recipe here. Have some slightly, not by much, but slightly better boots. Cool beans. Keep in mind that sometimes you might find bandits nearby or other enemies. Don't know if there's going to be anything over here. As you can see, just healing over time, we've made a decent recovery. Getting on to 6 bandages is not bad. Ooh, found a chicken. Or a pearl bird, as they're actually called, but I call them chickens. Pearl birds are a little bit tricky for one reason and one reason only. they like to run. Generally, I like to corner them. Try to give them a good old kick. You know, give them a good old smacking. Now, pearl birds, they give you eggs, which early game eggs, it's a one recipe cooking thing. You put them in the cooking pot, and maybe you can do it on just a basic fire. I'm not 100% sure. But early on, eggs are really good food because they give you stamina and health regen. I'm not sure if it's as good as other options, but it's a 2-for-1 food. Always nice. And they give you some meat. It's also nice. But they also have a small chance to drop a headpiece that gives you a good amount of movement speed. Still haven't got one, but something you can get. Real quick, we're going to go back outside of town because there's something I forgot to mention. That I should have mentioned earlier. Well, I guess I can explain it in town real quick. So I ran back to town. I knew the way back to town. The game does not give you where you are on the map. So you have to use some land navigation and you know, landmarks to decipher where you're at. So we just came in from Chersonese and Purogatorium, Krillin, I don't know how to pronounce it, is here. So now I can gather that we're here. The lighthouse, or our home, is here. Rissa is our person we need to go talk to over in Town Hall. So it looks like we need to go southwest, more so south, and then kind of southwest, and then back south. So south. And then the road splits, so we need to go towards the southwest, up the hill. Also, you run faster with your, or maybe it's just a, pretty sure you run faster with your weapon stowed, which for two-handers is on your shoulder. And then we need to go back south. Now we're at the town hall, where we should find our friend here.
Greetings. How go your efforts? You have a way to make that payment. And on time, too. I'm impressed. Well done. Oliel and Izan are leaving. Oliel is leaving to go join the holy mission of Elat. As will we all. A blood price has been declared upon his bloodline. This is troubling. Well then, this is unacceptable. This is the way things come back once you've said your goodbyes to them.
Okay, so now the dialogue option that I was referencing earlier should unlock. We're gonna get this quest wrapped up, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the video real quick. So first thing, we're gonna go down here and talk to Roland, since we tried to talk to him so many times before and failed to get the dialogue option, because now we should have it. While I'm running over there, with the next episode, I plan on doing a little bit of character progression, so getting a little bit better gear, you know, some abilities unlocked and things. So he knows it's his fault. She found out. Basically tell him, do your duty. How do you intend to play blood plays? He's like, I don't know. I'm basically useless. You challenge the outside world.
This is awful.
Usually. Anyways. So I guess there's a dialogue option there that I did wrong. Basically, if you make him feel guilty about causing the shipwreck, he'll give you some stuff. I don't know if there's consequences to that. I haven't really looked into it too much. I didn't go with that option in this case, and I didn't get the items, so maybe that comes back to bite me. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. It's only a couple potions and some other things, so I'm not too worried about it. But Yazan is our first person that we're going to talk to.
I take it you've heard? I've got one little fishing barge to my name. The Heroic Kingdom believes in chasing progress.
Basically, he's going to the Heroic Kingdom.
That I will. I will chase the Levantine dream and make it my own. We'll go by ocean as far as we can, then leg it across the Abrasar Desert on foot. Likewise, if you plan to make the journey to Levant completely on foot, be prepared for a long if you have the courage to face the Abrasar Desert.
All right, well, he's gone now. He's going to Levant to join the Heroic Kingdom, which is one of the factions that we will be able to, it will have the option to join later. The Blue Collective, which is the one that the other lady mentioned earlier, is another one, and the Holy Mission is the other.
I guess this is goodbye. I'm leaving this place to join. I'll miss it too. Risa has done something. All right? Listen. Now, the Holy have discipline. If you do,
So basically, that's in Monsoon.
Follow the Pilgrim Road.
Okay, so at this point, we are no longer tied by a time limit, so we're not not that we were before we talked to those two, but I wanted to get that out of the way. So at this point, the next step is to basically go back to her. She's going to tell us to choose a faction. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video here. Before we do so, I'd like for you guys to leave a comment on what faction you think we should join. Should we stick with the lady that gave us a bounty, basically, a blood price that we had to pay back? Do we want to join Mr. Yazan that was on the beach and they forget these people and go to the desert, join the Heroic Kingdom? Or do we want to join the Holy Mission with Oliet and maybe have a better time chasing whatever the Holy Mission? Because I haven't really done that, so I'm imagining that's going to be something interesting. So go ahead and leave a comment on what you think we should do. First choice of many. Also, let's go ahead and start thinking of what kind of playstyle do we want to do. Do we want to do maybe a little bit of magic? Do we want to do a bow, which we haven't found a bow yet, but we can make some strides to find one. Do we want to do melee? Do we want to do one-handed? Do we want to do two-handed? What kind of weapon do we want to use? Go ahead and leave your comments, your thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, show your support for the channel. And if you'd like updates and see the following update or the following videos for this series, I would appreciate a subscribe and turn on the notification bell to get updates on when that next video is available. Until next time,